Wonderful. All right, welcome to the third session of track 3, where we've got the amazing Crystal Harris and Karen Rod from CapTech joining us to give a presentation on Agile and how we can help drive the journey. I'm going to turn it over to them.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. One sec.
I think Zoom put out an update because everyone has had this today. So take your time.
Thank you. Okay. You should be seeing our CapTech start screen.
All good.
Looks
great.
Perfect, Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Process, using Agile to drive business innovation. We are glad you're here, and I am definitely glad to be here with you. My name is Karen Rod, and I'm an Agile coach with CapTech Consulting. My colleague Crystal Harris is here as well, and we're going to be talking with you today about how to achieve better business results.
Hey everybody, I'm Crystal Harris, and Karen said she and I work together at CapTech. My area of expertise is in the DevOps and Agile transformation space.
Awesome. Thanks, Crystal. So we'll have questions at the end, so we'll reserve some time at the end for Q&A, but we'll just go ahead and get to the presentation. So why are we here talking to you today? I personally have seen a growing phenomenon in my profession where everyone is talking about innovation. It's the hot topic of the day, but their business is steadily moving towards stagnation. And a lot of times they're not even aware of it. They don't realize that that is happening. There are a lot of reasons for this, but what I try to do is create a collective awareness around ways to move away from stagnation and into innovation. Now that takes time, it doesn't happen overnight, but my hope is to create aha moments that electrify people and inspire them to take action.
So I like this quote as we talk about making some of the shifts and the things that we have to do a bit differently. Is a Peter Drucker quote that if you want something new, you have to stop doing something old. In general, it's not just about doing a new thing, but there's some old practices that we have to let go of.
Absolutely. If it's not different, you're not transforming. All right. So product strategies, they should be driven by data. They should be data driven, and they should be driven by data that matters. So I want to share with you some numbers that I found particularly poignant. According to the 14th annual State of Agile survey that was distributed earlier this year, respondents ranked business outcomes higher than team outputs as the top measures of success. And that makes sense because if you asked a customer which they cared about more, a team's productivity percentage or an outcome that affected them personally, which one do you think they would say? Now, this supports our belief that customer centricity and technical agility are the keys to driving better business results.
So Karen, one of the things I love about these, there's a huge disconnect that jumped out at me when I looked at these stats, and that's that most organizations, they measure IT performance based on time delivery and productivity. And so if you think about over half of the people responding to this survey actually valued customer satisfaction and business value more, it tells me that the way we have to rethink the way that we measure performance and success with our IT organizations. And so as folks here who are product managers and thinking about how you engage with your IT partners, one of those ways is thinking about what are the new measures that you want to have to better connect your development group with your customers and business value.
Absolutely. Thanks. That's a great point, Crystal. All right. So what is customer centricity? Okay. If we believe that that's the keys to better business results, what is that and how do we do it? Quite simply, it's putting the customer at the center. I prefer the even simpler term of customer obsession. We have to be obsessed with our customers. The customer should be the driving force behind every decision and action that we take, to the point where a customer experience doesn't just need to be good, but it needs to be one that the customers would have designed themselves if they were given the opportunity. Every decision, in my viewpoint, should be from the CEO to the employees on the front lines. That should be made with the customer in mind. It should infect every employee, and it should become a part of your company's DNA. Does that sound extreme? If it does, good. We want it to be. All right, so moving towards customer centricity, the first thing that you want to do before anything else, the first step in that journey is know your customers. Find out who your customers are. A lot of times, companies I work with, they think they know who their customers are, but really, when they dig into it under the covers, they really don't. So what we want is, we want to find out who they are, what is their life like, what are their habits. Companies that are getting things right and are out competing their competitions are the ones that deeply understand their customers. More organizations I work with assume that they know their customers, and we've made great strides with user research teams and customer insights teams, user research areas, but our customers are always going to know better what they need than we do. Some extremely effective tools you can see on the bottom are, at better understanding your customers, are customer and user personas and journey and empathy maps. And then the way that we study and observe their habits is user behavior studies. You can Google these, or I welcome you to connect with me if you'd like to learn more about them. Right. So in order to deeply know your customers, you have to learn about them. Create ways to connect with your customers. Don't just connect with them all the same way. Find different ways to connect with different customer bases. Humans are wired for connection. It's who we are. And companies that can tap into that fundamental need by building relationships with their customers, they're going to be able to do things that other companies can't do. So take a look at, on the left-hand side, some of the bullet points of, these are some really popular ways to build relationships. And the top one, called Share a Coke, was a campaign that Coca-Cola put out a couple of years ago, you may remember. On the bottles, they had names of people. So they were printing names on the bottles. People went nuts for these bottles. They were standing in lines and bins to look at, to look through the bottles to find maybe their name, a loved one's name, a friend's name, and especially if their name was uncommon. It was, finding that was like gold. They would buy bottles of Coke to give as gifts to friends, family members. They would create pictures with them and send them. So this really built a relationship with the customer, not just interaction with them, but the customer was invested in this brand. And it created global awareness and connected people across miles. So that's one of my favorite ways that I have seen it's been most successful as far as creating a relationship and a bond and excitement with their customers. So don't just interact with them, also find ways to let your customers submit feedback easily and at any time. And then don't just let them give you feedback, but reward them. Create a reward system for telling you what they do and don't like. All right. So solving problems. Products should solve problems for customers. That's their reason for being. The goal of product leadership is to create products that people want to buy. Why should they choose you? What is the compelling reason for them to switch to you or to stay with you? By solving customers' problems, you will be building loyalty, trust, and allegiance, which in turn will provide some benefit back to the company. Could be financial, it could be reputational expansion or growth, because that customer is going to want to continue to do business with you, AKA buy your stuff. So think about what is the compelling reason for a customer to want to do business with you. All right, time for a poll. So what I'd like for everyone to do is get your computer or your phone out and go to slido.com. So go to slido.com. And I am going to share the screen. You can either type in that number 5441, or you can also use the QR code that I'm about to share here in just a second. All right. Everybody have that?
Karen, do you have to actually open up the Slido?
What you do is you go to slido.com and you can enter in #drive, or you can enter in the QR code 45441. The QR code, you can just hold up your phone with the camera setting on, hold it up to the screen, and it will recognize the QR code when you have your camera over it, and then you can click on the link that pops up. So I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on, do you think your organization is customer centric? Do you deeply know who your customers are? Do you understand their lifestyle? Do you understand what their challenges are? Do you understand what would make their life easier? Do you understand what problem you could solve for them? Go ahead and enter in if you think your organization is customer centric.
Karen, this is Jessica. We've got a few folks having issues with the number, but if everyone just types in drive instead of the number, that'll get you right there.
Thank you, Jessica. Yes, #drive. The number is an alternate one.
And for folks who are entering a number, I think on the screen it has 3 4s in there. It's actually just 2 4s, so 5441.
Fat fingered it. All right, so it looks like we've got some folks that say moderately, a big yes. A lot of people are saying yes, so that seems to be the majority. That's great. And then IT is not working, but on that change, that's great, 50-50. Trying to be, but not there yet. I love that really honest answer. And all that answer is that you have opportunities. And opportunities is what we want to look for. All right, just a few more, and then we're going to move on. In some things, great. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts on, do you think your organizations are customer centric? I appreciate that. All right, so let's go back. Sorry, folks, one sec. Okay. So in order to know your customers, again, we talked about how do you create connection with them. Now, that's extremely important to be able to connect with your customers and to get feedback from them. But you not only need to connect with your customers, you need to do something with that feedback. It's not enough to just get that feedback. You have to be able to do something with it. Now, products that solve problems for customers, again, that is their reason for being. But if you cannot solve the next problem that they don't know about, then you're not evolving, okay? And that's not innovation. What we want is, we want for our customers to be able to give us feedback and then for us to take action on it. Let me share this statistic with you. 50% of customers believe that their feedback doesn't go to anyone that can actually act on it. More than almost half the customer base doesn't feel as though their feedback will make a difference. So why would they give it to you? Okay. I love this quote from Henry Ford. Take a look at this quote. It's a very famous quote. If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. So think about that quote. Think about it. His customers didn't want faster horses. They just wanted to go faster. Horses were the only thing they knew. So that was the only thing that they could envision. Now, Henry Ford, as the visionary, he gave them what they didn't know they needed to go faster, but in a better way. And he created the birth of the automobile. It was revolutionary, and we want to be revolutionary. So a few techniques that have been game changers for some product leaders that I've worked with are the opportunity solution tree. That was created by Teresa Torres, and discovery sprints. That's also a technique that's becoming very popular. It's a trend within the product space. You can Google these, or again, I invite you to connect with me if you want to learn more about them. All right. One more poll. So it's another poll time. So keep your Slido up. Again, it's still hashtag drive. So we're going to go ahead and do one more poll. I love hearing from other people. That's how I learn, is by listening to other people and hearing their experiences. So that's my favorite part. All right, let me share one more time our poll. Give me 1 second. All right, almost there. Okay. So again, it's hashtag drive, or you can do the QR code. This poll question is, what is the compelling reason why customers should choose your product or service? If someone were to come up to you and say, hey, why should I choose you? What would you say? Trust, safety, quality. That's a great one. Yep. I love that we have safety. Solves their problem. Great. Look at all these trust. Oh, that's wonderful. Delights the customer. Excellent. Savings, value, reliability. Oh, you guys have some really great, I would choose you too. I would definitely choose you or switch to you.
I love that caring is in there.
I know, caring is sharing. That's great. We're in it for the long haul. All right, just a few more. And then we'll move on. These are great. Speed, best solution, dependability. Oh, I love dependability. Awesome. Okay, those are really great. Look, reliability, trust, and quality. Those are the three really big ones that a lot of people resonate with, those particular characteristics for why someone would choose their product. Those are really good qualities. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop that and reshare, and we'll move back. All right, give me just a sec. All right, so you should be seeing, are you seeing it?
Yep.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so thank you for providing compelling reasons, because remember, at the end of the day, the customer doesn't have to choose you. They can choose someone else. So we want to find compelling reasons to have a customer choose to go through sometimes the challenge and the pain of switching over to you. So it has to be something very compelling. All right. Ooh, sorry. I am having some skip issues. There we go. All right.
So Karen's talked a bit about how, as product managers, you can connect with your customers. I want to talk a bit about how you connect your developers to your customers. As product managers, the business vision, the customer, your business outcomes, those things are part of your everyday discussions. It's always in the forefront of your mind. For your development organizations, it's not part of their everyday conversations. And so you want to make sure that you take advantage of every opportunity to remind your development organization of how the work that they're doing connects into the larger business strategy, connects in with the customers. And so a couple of tools that I like to use, product visions and journey maps, are great things to share at any of your planning events. So if you're doing Scrum or Agile at a sprint planning or a big room planning event, these are ways to share with the development organization the work that you're about to do. This is how this work helps us achieve our business objectives. This is how this small increment of work that you're about to do fits in with the larger customer journey and the larger solution that we're trying to solve for those problems. Again, at demos, it's another opportunity to sort of look back and remind people of why the work that they did is important. Product discovery exercises, things like building opportunity solution trees or doing a discovery or design sprint, depending on which name you're using for those. These are great opportunities to allow your development organizations to work with you on product definition. This is their chance to really think about how they can bring innovative technology solutions to solving problems for your customers. And again, it's back to this idea of what problems are we solving and how can technology help us do that? And then finally, architectural roadmaps. I think these are really important. Not enough people have them. Not enough people are spending time connecting your architectural roadmaps to your business roadmaps. And so what you want to make sure that you're doing is having conversations with your technology leaders, your architects, with how exactly does their architectural roadmap enable your business objectives, enable your business roadmaps. So Karen, we can jump to the next slide. I'm going to dive a bit deeper into why, like the sort of differences in terms of the types of conversations that you're having you should be having with your users. There's two sort of sides of this. It's the technology operations, which is really the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day running of your technology, of your company. And then there's the innovation side in terms of how are you using technology to support your innovation culture in your organization. Let me have the next slide, Karen.
You got it.
All right, so on the technology operations side, some questions you should be asking yourselves and your technology partners is, how easy is it for you to get small minor changes into production? Is it something that takes hours to days, or is it taking weeks to months for that to happen? What do your customers think about the quality of your solution? We saw in the Slido that quality was one of the top things for why customers should work with you or buy your product. Are things running fairly smoothly, or are you constantly, like, how often are you running fire drills? And when you do have those issues in production, how quickly can you respond to them? Again, is this a matter of hours to days, or is it weeks to months? And then finally is really about availability, right? Is your solution, is it available on the device that your customer wants to use it on? Is it available when they need to use it? Doing these things well are sort of table stakes in the digital economy. If you can't do these things well, it'll be very difficult for you to compete in the digital market. Let me jump to the next slide and talk about the innovation side of things. So one of the things that we know when we talk about business innovation is that the organizations that can run more, faster, cheaper experiments are the organizations that are winning the innovation game. So one of the things that you want to think about in your organization is, how easy is it to get an experiment deployed, right? If someone wants to try something out to see if it's going to have an impact, is this something that you can do in a matter of hours and days, or is it something that takes weeks and months for you to do? Once you have something in the hands of your customers, how quickly can you get feedback? Do you have easy access to data about what your clients are doing, and how easy is it for you to make sense of that data? Or are you having to ask developers to pour through log files and dump things in Excel spreadsheets for you? And then finally, how safe is it to make production changes? So is getting something into production, is it a big event with, you know, hundreds of people involved over a weekend where everybody has to clear their calendars on Monday for the fallout from that release? Or is it sort of a non-event that happens, you know, any time of the day on any day, and then folks go on about their business? The easier you can make production releases, the more often you can do them, and the more time you have back to focus on actually delivering things of value to your customers. And so if you're looking at these things on the innovation side and your operation side, and you've asked these questions and the answers are not where you need them to be, this is a place where you want to have conversations with your technology partners about what is the investment that we need to make on the technology side to get us to the place that we need to be in order to really amplify our innovation culture, in order to compete in the marketplace, in order to sort of amplify technology's impact on our business objectives. And I think with that, Karen, you have some stuff on metrics.
Yes. So thank you for walking us through some of the more technical side of what it means to deliver good products that solve customers' problems. Another important aspect of customer centricity is to measure what is most important to your customers. Now, I know none of us are, it's not foreign to measure things. We do measure things. We're a data, we're data culture. We love data. But I encourage you to think about measuring things from a different lens. Most companies that I work with measure things that the business cares about. And so, for example, like average handle time, AHT in a call center. And that's understandable that they would measure those things because that's really all they've ever known how to measure. That's how they've grown up and that's what they've done. But I encourage you to measure things from what is important to your customers. What do they value most? And look at it from their lens. If you focus on tracking what your customers care about versus what your business maybe KPIs are, or your business operating metrics are, your business will prosper by default. Now, a metric framework doesn't need to be, complex. In fact, I would encourage you to start simple by just identifying what your customers want. What do they care about? And then create ways to collect that data and then measure and analyze that data for results. All right. So coming back full circle to where we started this talk, think about your area. Really think about it. Be radically honest with yourself. You don't have to say it out loud. Nobody will know what the answer is. But really think introspectively, are you stagnated? Meaning, are you doing the same things over and over again and expecting to be innovative? Or maybe you're solving problems through the lens of what the business wants. Maybe we're answering on behalf of the customer of what they care about. If the answer is yes, or even just maybe, then try opening up a dialogue with your colleagues and leadership around what if we doubled down and went all in on learning everything we can about our customers and just solved their problems. Maybe something revolutionary could happen. Well, thank you. We want to open it up for questions now, if there are any. Here are our LinkedIn, Twitter bios. Feel free to connect with us offline. If you are shy and don't want to ask questions now, feel free to connect with us. But Jessica, do we have any questions?
First off, thank you so much. Really, really great. And I love customer. So we have 2 questions in Q&A. What is the best approach for educating business clients on Agile methodology and getting them to own the product owner role?
It's a really great question. I'll share my 2 cents and then Crystal can certainly share hers. The best way to educate is find coaches or practitioners that are within your organization that understand your organization's context. It's even better if you have peers of leadership that have been through agility practices or agility transformations and have had success with it to come and talk to them. Nothing resonates like hearing stories from someone else that's been through it and understands their unique pain and is their peer, their colleague. So find folks within your organization that can champion it and talk about what is a product manager, what is a product owner, what is a product leader, what does it look like in your space, and then create a cohort a product community, product leader community or cohort to talk through what do we define that as? How do we want to define it? And what do we want it to be? What do we aspire to be? And then create a plan of action.
I just want to echo what Karen said about the finding a coach. I think oftentimes what I find is the reason why there's a resistance to owning the product owner role is, frankly, being a product owner is really hard. And making sure that your product owners have the support of someone who's experienced in doing this to help them figure out how to do it is key.
Awesome.
Right. All right, we've got 2 other questions. If it's okay, based on time, I'll send them to you, Karen and Crystal, and let you connect with these folks on LinkedIn or other channels. And we'll thank you again for your time and insights today. Really, really great.
Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, definitely send me those questions. Love to talk in more depth with anyone who wants to. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, Crystal and Karen and Jessica, of course. Everyone, we will be heading over to the executive panel that will be starting in about 4 minutes. That is not on this link, so go back to your landing page and click enter session on the executive panel. Thank you guys again.